everyone, Andrew here. Welcome to the Bloody Point. Today we begin a new series called Starting Out, which will demonstrate the process of starting your account for the first time, acquiring basic gear, intermediate gear, and advanced gear. Here we see I'm looking at the skill tree. That's the first thing you want to do is start your skills training. You'll notice that I am going to select a race and class combination that is not supported by my skills to simulate lack of skill training. First thing you need to do when connecting to a server is select a faction. Here I'm going to choose order, and you will see, as I mentioned, I am choosing a race and class combination that I have no training in. So it's not a perfect approximation of a new character, but it is close enough. I do have some basic training in basic exploration and basic crafting, which will influence things a little bit, but it'll give you a general idea. So the first thing you do when you spawn in is harvest some wood. I've sped this up here to make this process a little more quick. You need 3 wood to begin crafting your first tool, which you do by pressing J. Here you go. I'm going to craft my axe. Oh wait, I'm short one. I think I didn't pick one up. Here we go. So basic items are pretty easy right now in the pre-alpha to craft. They require simple combinations of 3 wood. You first make the axe, of course, then your next 3 wood will be easier to get, and you go through the different resources. You don't necessarily need the knife at this point, since the basic weapons do not require hide or leather. You will need that in the intermediate portion, however. So going through making the tools, people have different experiences when it comes to how hard they feel it is to get their first set of gear. But as you'll see in this video, it isn't really that difficult. I've chosen a class with the most amount of gear, dual wielding ranger, so you need 2 weapons, not just 1. And then you also have the bow and the arrows, so that's pretty much the high end when it comes to requirements for items. Once you have your basic set of gear, you have options on what you do next. You can immediately go to working towards an intermediate set by harvesting for that, or you can actually transition to farming some gold. You can do that in the starting area, and then you can buy a set of items from other players. You can leapfrog the intermediate stage entirely if you wish. It's interesting. You do have a lot of choice even at the very early game, but you do have to start out by making these basic items, the basic tools as you see here. And I'm going to now gather the materials needed for the basic weapons. Again, the numbers you're seeing that I'm doing, the damage to these nodes, is a little bit higher than it will be if you start with an absolutely fresh account. So, keep in mind that the time this takes will actually be a little bit longer because of that. You'll do less damage to the nodes, you'll get fewer resources out of them. In real time, this process actually took about 15 minutes. Factoring for the difference in the skill level of a completely new account, you could maybe add another 10 or 15 to that to be generous. So, realistically speaking, in the first half hour you will have a full set of basic tools and a full set of basic weapons. So basic weapons generally take 6 of the basic resources per slot, so it can be 12, 6 wood and 6 stone, or 6 wood and 6 ore, or 12 wood, depending on what you're actually making. And that really doesn't take much time at all to farm. So for people who don't like to farm, or who don't like the concept of a grind, and are turned off by the idea that you have to make all of the gear, you can't necessarily buy it, that's really a very low bar to entry. It's the perception by some people is that they're a bit lost and they don't know what to do and they don't know how to get going. It really is fairly simple, as this video hopefully will demonstrate, to get your first set of tools and your first set of gear. The next video in this series will demonstrate moving towards the intermediate set, and you'll see a comparison for the damage numbers on the weapons and so on. It's kind of amazing that intermediate sets really are fairly good, especially in the early game on a fresh server compared to advanced gear. The damage numbers can be significant. Well, you will see that shortly. I hope this is of help to you guys, and as always, that is the bloody point.